Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to Big Mouth Live. I tried to pause there, right? Because at the beginning of the video, it cuts me off. So I thought I'd pause a little bit and it still cut me off. Never mind. Let's start again. Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to Big Mouth Live, where we're debating the Snyder Cut versus the Avengers. Now, what I'm going to do is give the case for the defense for the Avengers movie and the Snyder Cut, and explain a few things as well. Bobcat, hey Mickey, hey Bobcat, how's it going? Advice, never have a Cyprus kebab before you do a live video. I'm so uncomfortably bloated, but we will continue because I am brave. So, in the case of the Avengers movie, it's got this fabulous build-up of these origin stories, and it's a great lead-in. And that's why it works so well. Now, it's important to say that Joss Whedon didn't write this film on his own. He had a co-writer. Kevin Feige also put this film together as well. So what's so rewarding about this film is that we've had, 4 or 5 origin films before it. So we've seen these characters' origin stories. So it's kind of exciting after seeing all these different movies, seeing these characters you kind of meet and be on the same screen together. Vodka, I love all the Avengers films. Age of Ultron isn't great, but it's okay. I like Age of Ultron, but there's a big difference to that film. Now, Joss Whedon wrote and directed that film himself. He was in sole creative control because of the plaudits he got for the first film. So you can tell the difference. He had a co-writer in the first film, but this time he was trusted because of the success of the first movie. And you can tell the difference in his tropes of, isn't there a bit when one character falls on top of Black Widow, just like what he did in Justice League with Diana and Barry? So, tired old tropes, and he always uses them. But, going back to Avengers, this film is really, really well set up. And it really works. I think what's important as well, that Fury gets some good screen time in this film. And in the rest of them, he doesn't really get that. So it's a really good film. It introduces the characters really well, but it's got a bit of a difficult one with Bruce Banner because they changed the actor. So although the Incredible Hulk movie is canon within the MCU, we're dealing with a brand new actor. So Mark Ruffalo has got a really hard job to convince people he's the same character as who Ed Norton played. So you got this situation where you got this film, you've had a great build-up, it's a perfect storm, and this is the first live-action comic book kind of crossover movie of all time. And it works. All the characters mesh really, really well, but it has a similarity. Now, you won't believe this. Well, you should believe it if you've seen it. But the villain story is pretty similar to the Snyder Cut because Loki literally has been set up to do this by Thanos. And in the Snyder Cut, Steppenwolf is set up to do what he's doing by Darkseid. So it's very, very similar. Now, Thanos gets less screen time than Darkseid does in the Avengers movie, but he's there, right? He's there, and the setup is there for the future. So it's amazing how these films have got a similar villain story. When was Avengers released? 2014, 2015? Now, I think we should treat the Snyder Cut like it was released in 2017, which is the plan. So the build-up to the Snyder Cut, to Zack Snyder's Justice League, or to Justice League, as it would have been called solely, is this. First of all, if it was released theatrically, Bobcat, I mean, Snyder Cut is amazing, but the Avengers built everything up better, definitely. So if it was released in 2017 in theatres only, it would have been about 2 hours and 50 minutes, and I think Zach said the same thing. So a very different length. It would have lost just over an hour from its runtime, which is important. And so the build-up to the Snyder Cut is Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, Suicide Squad, and Wonder Woman 2017. That's not a bad build-up, but all the characters haven't had their origin films. So if it's released in 2017, no Aquaman origin movie. So Aquaman, Ezra Miller's The Flash, Cyborg, none of these characters have had origin movies. So it's a weird way of doing things. And I know a lot of fans of Snyder's work say that there's no problem, that people don't have to do the same things as Marvel. And I used to say the same thing. But quite simply, you needed those characters to have origin movies. Now, Batman has kind of got a kind of an origin story for his Batman in BVS. So he kind of gets something. It's not a Batman origin story, excuse me. I'm going to switch the aircon off. It's not, it's not an old-fashioned kind of origin story, but it's there. So you've got these characters that we don't really know unless you've read the comics, and they've got a different backstory, kind of, really, because Snyder doesn't really copy and paste the comics either. So it would have been a very difficult sell from the beginning. How successful would have Snyder's Justice League have been? Well, more successful than Justice League, but he would have had a problem. The divisive reaction of Batman versus Superman maybe could have made that film a flop. I think you're probably looking from about 850 million to maybe 900, probably the same as BVS, which wouldn't have been a big hit. But at least if they released that movie, they could have justified to the public why they were saying goodbye to Snyder. Whereas now, with the release of the Snyder Cut, Warner Brothers look like a bad company. And so I think that's the problem with that. And so the Snyder Cut is a fabulous film. Now, what's Bobcat? Not as much as the Avengers. Yeah, the build-up, listen, the build-up isn't there. Look, there is a build-up. There is a build-up because we've got Man of Steel, we've got BVS, we've got Suicide Squad, and we've got Wonder Woman. But my point about Suicide Squad is that it has no point to it in terms of Justice League. Abraham Herrera, Snyder can do no wrong by me. Good to hear. Everyone's entitled to their takes here. But yeah, why do a Suicide Squad movie? I know we see the Flash in it. I know we see Batman aplenty in Bruce Wayne. But why jam-pack a Suicide Squad movie when you're building up to a Justice League movie? Bobcat, also, if it was released in theatres in 2017 with no problems, it would have been chopped up anyway. Well, yeah, as I've already mentioned, it would have been about 2 hours, 50 minutes, right? So there would have been a lot on the cutting room floor. But he knew that no studio was going to release, theatrically, a 4-hour movie. No one's going to do that. Not just Warner Brothers, any studio. And I understand that. It's a business. They want to get as many viewings as they want. A 4-hour movie isn't plausible for movie theatres. We all know that. You can't just let someone do whatever they want when it doesn't make sense to your bottom line, And so, what I'm saying is, what's the point of Suicide Squad in a build-up to a Justice League movie? As I say, it has these beating pieces of the build-up. It has Batman, it has the Flash. And that's okay. But in terms of the characters in Suicide Squad, they have no legitimate reason for being there as part of the build-up to Justice League. Sorry, I lost my attention there because my dad's screaming like a mad hatter on the phone, and I thought he was having a heart attack or something. So I don't agree with Suicide Squad being there. If you're going to do what I would have done, which is a Suicide Squad versus Justice League movie, in the first Justice League movie, that would have been cool. But there's no point in having the Suicide Squad there. And if anyone can tell me a reason to have a Suicide Squad film there as a build-up to a Justice League movie, I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand the logic to that, legitimacy to that. There's not one of those characters that are involved. Bobcat, Moneylog, yeah, but they would have been served better. They wasted an origin story slot. Instead of Suicide Squad, you could have had, Cyborg or Flash. You could have even had Cyborg and the Flash together as a double build-up. They wasted that slot. Bobcat, it doesn't make sense, but they just want money, really. Yeah, but they were better served, and they made good money out of Suicide Squad. I think a Flash movie would have made more money if it was done well, of course, or a Cyborg movie. or an Aquaman movie, or a Batman movie, anything. But doing a Suicide Squad movie when they have nothing, not even Waller's involved in Justice League, which I think is a mistake, by the way. In fact, I would have rather seen, a Waller origin story than a Suicide Squad movie and have her involved in the Justice League, trying to take them down behind the scenes. I don't know. And who would have liked a Perry White, Agent Waller scene together? That would have been pretty interesting, wouldn't it? But anyway, because Larry Fishburne and Viola Davis would have been great together. If you're going to have them in your franchise, they should mix up a bit. That's what I would have done anyway. But, so I don't understand what Suicide Squad was doing there. It makes zero sense. And that was Snyder's decision. And it's a weird decision. Suicide Squad isn't the biggest kind of IP in the DC Comics catalog anyway. So again, I don't know why he did it. I don't know what the sense is of doing that. No sense. So that was mistake number one of many mistakes. So all we can do is look at the Snyder Cut in comparison to Avengers now as the film we have seen. And the film we have seen is damn awesome. Damn awesome, right? And surprisingly, right, it does a good job of meshing these characters together. But the film has a massive problem. It's dug itself a hole because it's got a Superman rebirth story to tell. And it isn't a very good rebirth story because when you've got what they did in the comics with different versions of Superman and the way he comes back, and to give us that, and to have Superman for like 10 minutes in Justice League, I know we've discussed this before, but it's a bugbear of mine. It doesn't make sense. You could have had Superman for the whole movie, but they didn't do that. They didn't do that. So, very weird, but I do like Zack Snyder's Justice League, but the thing they got wrong was forcing themselves into the hole of having to tell a Superman rebirth story. So the film's good. Now, Warner Brothers didn't believe that that film was going to be the success they needed it to be. They were worried. They were worried after BVS. And so there's that. And so going back to Avengers, it's kind of the perfect storm because pre-Avengers, the Marvel fans, a lot of them hated what Feige was doing. And Feige was actually a hated figure, just like Snyder was. Pre-Avengers. People had doubts over the franchise. They kind of liked Iron Man. They hated Iron Man 2. Hulk split the audience. Captain America, the first Avenger. That was a lot of people hated that movie. I don't understand why, because I think that movie's amazing. Bobcat, I still think it should have ended with Endgame. You can't end the franchise. You can't end a multi-trillion-dollar franchise. It's going to go on because it's successful. No one's going to want it to end, including the fans. So that's going to be going round like your clock does all day or every day, right? I kind of understand what you're saying, but there's not an ending. It's Hollywood is a sequel factory, and it's the most successful franchise of all time. So they're not going to stop. Not after the money they made. It's one of the most successful global box office movies of all time. And so nobody had faith in Feige, or most people didn't. Now, Disney were backing him because they knew what he was doing. But the movies pre-Avengers wasn't the perfect storm. So that's very interesting to me, that he was in a similar position to what Snyder was. He was under less pressure because no one had done this before in terms of all these films and then do a team up. Nobody even had faith in Avengers before they saw it. We all had our doubts. Avengers turned the MCU around. This is the interesting thing. And this was my hope for the DCEU, that Justice League could turn the image of the DCEU. But it didn't. It only made matters worse. Bobcat, yeah, money talks, but I really don't think this next phase will work as well as the other ones. If this next phase is A, I might consider Endgame the ending. Well, it's interesting because people are divided over the first two films, projects of Phase 4, which is WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So that's interesting. But you've got, I think it's all about, look, Eternals is one of those things. I just don't know what's going to happen with that movie because people know what the point is of that film, right? So the Eternals are interesting, but there's the usual left political commentary going to be coming from that film. So that film could be Feige's biggest disaster, and he hasn't had many. So that could be really successful, or people could just support it because it's an MCU film. But the film that has to work, really, and they're not as much pressure as DC are with Flashpoint, but it's a similar movie. So we know that's a multiverse movie, Spider-Man No Way Home. If people embrace that movie and it works, then Phase 4 is a go. It works. But I think there's a lot of sticking points. I remember seeing the lineup for Phase 4, and the only film that really interested me, really, was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Bobcat, I loved WandaVision, which was strong, but I only liked the last two episodes of WandaVision. I don't even know about the Eternals. I just don't want them going political. They will. Do you realise that people hated the last two episodes? I think you're one of the few who actually likes them. I like the whole series of WandaVision. It all worked for me. I thought the sitcom element was very unique, and I liked how the further we got into it, the more MCU type of stuff we were getting. So I think that was awesome. Even the stuff they did with the guy from X-Men was a bit cheesy and dumb, but at the end of the day, you let them get away with it. I think the mistake they made was they set Wanda up as the villain just to trick us. She should have been the villain. If she was the villain and set up for the villain of Phase 4 like I thought she was going to be, then I think that would have really worked for them. So it's interesting what happens with Phase 4. I think the lucky aspect, the fortunate aspect that Feige has here, there's a lot of kind of people who are happy to support mediocre content because of what's gone on before. Marcus Walker, what do you make of Emily Blunt's comments regarding Fantastic Four? Fucking hilarious. I loved it. I love Emily Blunt. She's a very talented lady. And I've been waiting for both of them in that relationship, obviously. Her husband is a wonderful actor and director as well. He's been very kind in the past. He's been egging this on in a way, hasn't he? Because he's been going, yeah, I auditioned for this and blah, blah, blah. And she's just come out blankly and said, we haven't been approached. I don't like superheroes. So I found it hilarious. Bobcat, I'm definitely in the smaller majority, but I loved it. I mean, I don't think any show they do will be as good as that to me. Not super excited for Black Widow either. Black Widow's another weird one, isn't it? Because that's the film we should have had after probably Incredible Hulk or Iron Man 2 when she was introduced. But they didn't want to do it. So they talk about representation, inclusion, but they didn't have faith in a female character to do her a film early on, which is what they should have done. So that's always interesting to me. But the MCU is deemed a success, even now. Bobcat, exactly. Yeah, thank you for that, Bobcat. Good to have agreements. It's not a dictatorship, though. And so, look, the MCU, the money it's made, the love people have for it, it's a success, and people deem the DCEU to be a failure, to be a clusterfuck, to be something that hasn't meshed or worked very well. It would probably have been easier to make the DCEU as loved as the MCU as it was for them to do what they did. Listen, if I'm put in charge of running a franchise like Christopher Nolan was, don't forget he didn't want to do it anyway. It was ridiculous. What a mess. But if I'm in charge of the DCEU, I don't bring Zack Snyder on board as much as I love the guy's directing and films. Bobcat, we'll have to wait and see. It could be great. It could bomb. Same with DC. Well, I don't think the MCU is going to bomb. There's a feel-good factor. You see, it has this kind of arena of success around it. Because of what he's already done with it, people will go and see an MCU film, even if they're not that interested in the subject matter, because it's an MCU film. It's like when you go and watch your football team, right? If I go and watch Manchester United, right? It doesn't matter how bad they're playing or anything else. I will go and support them, and everyone else will as well. And this is the thing with the MCU. Now, if they had a couple of bombs, that would be interesting. But right now, there's nothing to suggest that Phase 4 will be a disaster. Sam Dejan reviews, why do you keep hating on Zack Snyder? I don't. I'm just a very balanced individual. I'm not blinded. I'm not biased. So Zack Snyder, for me, as much as I love his DC movies, wasn't the right person to make a DC extended universe successful, because he's unique, he's controversial, and he doesn't appeal to a broader spectrum of the audience. That's not hate, my friend. That's a broader scope of an opinion. That's a balanced opinion. Because I'm looking at this as a business person, right? I'm looking at this, I want my franchise to be as successful as possible. So I'm not a charity, right? So, you know, Zack Snyder, if he could direct my DC movies and not write them, he'd be in for every DC movie. But let's just say that Zack's a better director than he is a writer. Bobcat, if I was head of DC, I'd bring Snyder back for Aquaman. So much air bubble merchandise. Yeah. Sam Dejan reviews, at least was doing his own thing with DC. The rest are just trying to be the MCU. Well, you see, the rest are getting in line and doing what they're told, because Walter Hamada is in charge. They want to make a successful go at this. So you can do your own thing, but when your own thing doesn't make the people who hold the IP, who are giving you money to make the film, when they're not making, it's a business, Sam. It's a business at the end of the day. So yes, he was doing his own thing, an impressive own thing, but it doesn't appeal to a broader spectrum. So what the MCU does, it works as a business. That's why they're trying to copy it. When are you going to, Sam Dejan reviews, when are you going to realize DC is a Marvel? It's not. It's different. And they're not trying to copy Marvel. They're not copying and pasting Marvel, right? But you need more of a connective tissue. You need to be able to attract kids and family and adults, a wide range of audiences. I mean, Gunn was given 100% freedom, so he could be their new guy. Well, I think in terms of the director, that could be the case. I suppose it all depends how his Suicide Squad movie does. Sam Dejan reviews, that's the problem. You're always comparing it. Well, I'm not always. I decided to do a video with a header, basically, the Snyder Cut versus Avengers, because I think they're interesting comparisons, right? At one end, Snyder is a visionary director who had his own vision, but it didn't start off as Snyder's vision. Man of Steel was a David Goyer story and a Christopher Nolan story. He basically just directed that film. He had a lot of creative ideas that went into that film. There's no question about it. And then David Goyer just vanished. What happened to David Goyer's vision? This is part of the clusterfuck that is the DCEU. Sam Dejan reviews, Marvel has been doing it for 10 years. The Snyderverse is the only thing they can do that isn't MCU. But you can't just do something because it's not the MCU. It's clear what we've seen. It's clear that the audience appeal isn't there. Although it's made solid money, the Snyderverse, and I like the Snyderverse as a business, as something that appeals to the people who have been buying comics since they were children, it did not work. And that is what I'm saying. So the DCEU, what, has 9 films now, does it? Something like that. So at the end of the day, right, I'm looking at this as a business person. Does this work? Does this work for a broad spectrum of the audience? No, it does not. As much as I love his films, I want DC to be as successful as possible. And I want DC to please as many people as possible. And this is the agenda now with the people running the franchise. They have to try and create a situation where they can go to people, you can all come and watch this now. Your kids can, your parents can, your sisters can. That's the whole point of this. And this is why they're changing. Now, I understand, Sam, you're a devout Zack Snyder fan. I like his DC movies, but I'm not blinded by that passion. So I understand why you say the things you do. Abraham Herrera, are you going to watch AOTD in theatres, Mick? Army of the Dead. Unfortunately, Abraham, as usual, America is the only one who can get these nice things. So I'm not going to see Army of the Dead in theatres because I can't. But if I could, I would. And I'm very excited to see Army of the Dead on Netflix because I like Zack Snyder as a director. But also as a DC fan, which is what I predominantly am, I want DC to work for a great many people. I want people to love this franchise. Sam Dejan Reviews, I'm not a Zack Snyder fan. I'm a DC fan. Interesting, because you seem a little bit biased towards Zack Snyder. That's why I said that. At the end of the day, the company have made a decision. Now, I don't like the decision. I think the whole thing was a mess from the beginning. But as a business, when you decide that you're doing a DC extended universe, going for Nolan isn't the right thing anyway, because Nolan's not even read a fucking comic book before. He knows nothing about running a comic book franchise, live action franchise. Now, I know he did The Dark Knight, but that was a trilogy. Bobcat, I feel like we should at least give DC a chance. Well, I am, because I believe in the vision of what they're doing. But there's going to be a lot of talk before we start seeing these films. So I'm looking forward to people seeing James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, because he's a good talker. Sam Dejan Reviews, you don't have to be a comic book fan to make a movie. It's not about a movie, Sam, is it, though? We're talking about a franchise. Kevin Feige knows Marvel. So there's so many great comic book creatives there who could have been running this thing. Just someone who knows how to be a leader, someone who knows to create an arc. Basically, the MCU have a showrunner, right? That's what we needed, a showrunner. Now they're going down a different. They don't have a showrunner. They have an executive running it in Walter Hamada, and then they have the individual filmmakers, right? Sam Dejan Reviews, DC should have their own studio. But if they have their own studio, it doesn't solve anything, because it's still going to be run properly, right? And it's going to be run by someone who understands DC Comics. A Tom King, anyone. Someone who's passionate and wants to create this continuous kind of movie serial, right? Because that's what a movie franchise is. And unless you look at it like that, so you need a TV showrunner in a way. Alan Miles runs Smallville for 7 seasons successfully. The people at 24 run 24 for 8 seasons successfully. The people who run Dallas many years ago ran the show successfully until they decided to bring Bobby back in a dream, of course. Sam Dejan Reviews, Walter Hamada doesn't know anything about comics, no, but he's there alongside Jim Lee. And it's interesting, isn't it, that Aquaman and Shazam worked. So that says something. Abraham Herrera, the way I see it, is Zack stuck to his guns to this day. I can't believe they let him make Man of Steel and BVS. That's a good point. That the charm his movies have, no other studio would have let him make those movies. So, Abraham, all those people who keep on slaughtering WB should be told that, because no other studio would have allowed him to even release the Snyder Cut, let alone the other 2 movies he made. So that's a good point, Abraham, actually. Abraham Herrera. So in a way, we already robbed WB 3 movies. Yes, we did. Because do you think Disney would have put up with him? No. Do you think Columbia and TriStar would have put up with him, or MGM, or anyone? Right? No. Do you think he'd ever be able to work with Barbara Broccoli at Eon and make Bond movies? No, as talented as he is. Sam Dejan Reviews, I don't want a black Superman movie. Why can't they make a Man of Steel 2? Then you can do it. Well, you can have both a white and a black Superman, right? Ronnie Dodge, hey Mick, sorry I'm late. Oh dear, did you get lucky or something, Ronnie, and you blew out your old mate Mick? I was getting a bit worried. The turnout tonight isn't very great. It's like I'm literally talking to, I think, 3 people. Very exciting, but it's great to see you. What's the gossip? We've been debating... we started debating Zack Snyder's Justice League versus Avengers. We went from that to discussing different topics, if Snyder was the right man, the usual kind of stuff, Bobcat, I'm in rankings of DCEU, Wonder Woman, Shazam, Birds of Prey, Harley Bias 4, Man of Steel 5, Aquaman 6, Suicide Squad 7, BVS 8, Wonder Woman 84 9, Justice League Snyder's Jail is my fave, but not canon. Igor, hey Mick, hello Igor, welcome to the stream. And so one thing, Bobcat, that you put first is Wonder Woman 2017. That would be my first movie in there. I think it's one of the best CBMs ever made. It's a fucking sonnet. It's beautiful. So I really like it. Bobcat, don't like the commentary in BOP, but I loved Huntress, Canary, Sionis, and Harley. It's not, it will probably be my least favourite film, to be honest with you. It would be Wonder Woman for me. It would be Man of Steel for me. It would be BVS for me. It would be Aquaman for me. Then I would probably go Shazam, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman 84, and Birds of Prey. That's kind of way I'm looking at it. The thing is with the DCEU, things kind of deteriorate as we go further in it. So it's a good ranking. It's not my ranking, but Bobcat, you know, that's your kind of list. Bobcat, where does the Suicide Squad go in there? Well, that's interesting. Is it fair to even talk about that, seeing I haven't seen the entire cut movie? I don't think that's fair. From what I saw, it's near the top half rather than the bottom half at this moment in time. But I'm not putting it number one or the top three or anything like that. But it's definitely maybe 5 or 4 at this moment in time. But it wasn't a proper movie. It wasn't a proper cut-together movie. So it's not fair, really. Abraham Herrera, Bobcat, why do people keep saying Zack Snyder's Justice League is not canon? Nobody in their right senses would consider Justice League canon. We decide what is canon. Well, you know what, Abraham, you're right. But I think Bobcat's not trying to be controversial. He's saying it's not canon because Zack told us, the studio told him it's not canon. So, you know, I think that's what Bobcat is alluding to. Ronnie Dodge, Wonder Woman 2017 is always going to be number one, agreed? And it's it's No Man's Land still packs a punch. That scene is fantastic, but I just think the whole film is wonderful. It really is. I mean, the young kid playing Diana, fucking hell, in the opening sequence in Themyscira, she's just amazing. She really is. She may be a better Diana than Gal Gadot. I just think she's sensational. I've got a lot of time for her. Sam Dejan reviews, if they're going to kill Batfleck, I'm not excited for The Flash. Well, this is the problem, my friend. You don't know what they're going to do you? And I mean, if you're going to go with internet tittle-tattle, I think you're going to get it wrong. So, Bobcat, I know Abraham, but I just said that because Zack said it wasn't canon. Didn't mean to start controversy, yeah. I did try and defend you there, Bobcat, to be fair. But at the end of the day, right, you know, Zack's DC movies have got a lot of fans, and I'm a fan. But my bias isn't, you said something about Zack. I'm not like that. Because I'm balanced, because I'm a DC fan before a Snyder fan. That's where I am. Sam Dejan reviews, I want Bat Family with Batfleck. Ronnie Dodge, Lily Aspel needs a Young Diana series on HBO Max. Well, they were developing something. I don't know what's going on with the Amazon series on movies. I think that was kind of Patty's brainchild, so she could be out now. So Scott Edwards, almost done with season 3 of Smallville. Wow. You've got a great finale, my friend. That finale is going to blow your mind. Do you know how I know? Because that blew my mind. Thank you. It's going to be amazing. Sam Dejan reviews, Ben Affleck needs an HBO Max series. It's interesting what Barbara Machete said about approaching Ben Affleck to do Batman in the Flash and how he said yes straight away. So this is interesting. Scott Edwards, how would you rank the Smallville seasons? Right. This is an interesting one, actually. I think we've got to go. It's difficult. I think, you see, I'm going to get confused now with my numbers. I think season 3 is sensational. I don't know, you know. This is something I'm going to have to think about. We shouldn't be asking for a Superman movie. I agree. We should get it automatically. Abraham Herrera, I'm not being aggressive, man. I'm just saying we can't accept it. Even if they don't continue the Snyderverse, the timeline makes more sense with Zack Snyder's Justice League in it. Kind of, but what about the Atlantis stuff? That doesn't really connect, does it? And, you know, Mira speaking posh and the way Voco is. Bobcat, although whether people hate it or not, I will back the Suicide Squad and Gunn. It probably will be my favourite DCEU movie of all time, including Snyder's Justice League. Sorry, just my opinion. which you are welcome to on this platform. Oh yeah, we were talking with Scott Edwards about Smallville. Bobcat didn't say you were being aggressive. Also, Aquaman doesn't match up, as I said. Scott Edwards, I'm interested to see if Eclipso will. But yes, Scott, Smallville is difficult for me to rank in seasons because I love mostly all of them. I just think they're amazing. So I think season 3 is a sensational season. Look, I love season 7. I love all of them. The truth is, I love all of them. I can't rank them. I feel like I'm betraying a former girlfriend or something. Ronnie Dodge, I will admit there are elements of Justice League that I do like, but overall it's crap. Yeah, agreed. Bobcat, agreed, Ronnie. Sam Dejan reviews. Did you hear Walter Hamada isn't credited for Black Adam? Yeah, and I don't believe it until I see it. Oh, was it Small Screen who said that? Because they speak a lot of truths, don't they? No, we have to wait and see. We have to wait and see. I need kind of a synopsis, a credit. Now, it wouldn't surprise me because I think The Rock's got his own people doing that film. So it could be separate. But at the end of the day, it's a New Line Cinema production, which Walter's really well connected to as well. So that seems unlikely and wishful thinking from Walter Hamada and Hamadaverse haters making up shit as they go along. Abraham Herrera, they do talk underwater in Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's just that the Atlanteans hear it in a different frequency underwater. A frequency we can hear throughout the Aquaman movie is all. Yes, Abraham, but Zack uses air bubbles, and every time they have to talk, it takes me out the movie because they have to make an air bubble. Even when Mira's fighting, Steppenwolf, I didn't like the air bubbles, and I didn't like how Snyder got them to talk. Scott Edwards, do you think Supergirl will have a big role in the Flash movie? Absolutely, yes. She's very important to the future of the DCEU, Scott. Sam Dejan reviews, WB is toxic, not the fans. They keep giving us stuff we don't want. Igor, I liked Hawkman, the Legion and the Justice Society on Smallville. Oh, so did I. Erica Durant was a wonderful Lois Lane, one of my favourites, by the way. Igor, right up there with Dana Delaney in an animated series, yeah. Basically, Absolute Justice, written by Jeff Johns, by the way, Igor, is a wonderful episode. And what another great achievement by that show. One of the best live-action DC franchises ever. Bobcat, my point is, it sucks Zack is out, but we shouldn't turn our backs on DC for that alone. Well, here's the thing, Bobcat. We all need to make our individual decisions. If you want to boycott it, boycott it. But you can't tell other people to boycott it too. Or have a go at them or tell them they're wrong for not boycotting it. Ronnie Dodge, I don't believe the Small Screen or the Lightcast. I mean, they've been saying there is going to be a Batfleck show. Yeah, Lightcast and Small Screen. I mean, Small Screen is worse than Lightcast, but Lightcast is in a tangent all of their own. They do well. I like them. But, yeah, I wouldn't believe anything they said. Bobcat, where are we? I mean, I want what they're giving us. Kavari, did you see this one Snyder fan attacking James Gunn about Peacemaker? Yep. And basically, James handed his balls to him in a sling. Bobcat, I love the air bubbles. You don't know, do you? Sam Design reviews. Why? We don't want Super Pets, Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 84, Black Superman. Isn't Super Pets an animated thing, Sam? Sam Dejan reviews. I'm looking forward to it, but I still want the Snyderverse. Fair enough. Bobcat, I wanted Birds of Prey and Super Pets. Everyone has an opinion. I can't say I don't want a project until I've seen it. Kavari, air bubbles sucks. Yeah, Kavari, I'm sorry, I didn't like the air bubbles. I know scientifically that's why he did it, but Zack tries to make everything realistic. And this is a fantasy world, and with a fantasy world, realism doesn't always work. Bobcat, just not the BOP commentary, exactly. Scott Edwards, I'm hoping for a Black Canary and Huntress limited series announcement at Fandom. You never know, Scott. You never know. I don't know. I'm not sure, but you never know. See, the thing is, it's like what Scott does there. Everyone wants something different. Do you see how it's different to please everyone? Bobcat, I'd love that, Scott. Yeah, we all would. We all would. But as I say, it's hard to please everyone in such a short space of time. Kavari, any news on Static Shock's movie? Absolutely none. Ronnie Dodge, I'm a DC fan, but I'm not going to worship one director. I want other directors to get their shot at DC projects, and with Aquaman, James did it better, plain and simple. Yeah, I pretty much agree with all of that, Ronnie, so I don't have to reiterate that or come at it hard. Sam Lejean reviews, WB split the audience. Did they? Did they? Well, they didn't make the films, did they? Scott Edwards, are you excited for the Marvels? I know you don't mean that in a horrible way. It's just I found it funny that they're calling it the Marvels, and some people are saying they're trying to move away from Captain Marvel. Yes, I am looking forward to it, Scott, but it's not one of my top films that I'm looking forward to. Igor, I'm curious, Mick, where do you rank Dredd in CBMs? The one with the guy who plays McCoy in Star Trek. I really liked it. I thought it was an amazing film. I don't think I would put it up as one of my favourites or top fives. It's probably somewhere maybe in the, I'd have it in the top 50 or something. But it's a very, very good film. Bobcat, agreed again, Ronnie. Sam Lejean reviews, why can't they get Henry Cavill for a series and Ben Affleck and give them Game of Thrones budget? Well, because it'd have to make triple that. But I would love to see that, don't get me wrong. Kavari, Sam Lejean reviews, no BVS did. I'm not going to agree or not agree with that one because I like my life. Hot Takes Tuesdays. Yo, Hot Takes Tuesdays. Give us a hot take. Ronnie Dodge. Oh, Ronnie, I've lost you there, mate. I've lost you there. Let's have, hang on. Ronnie Dodge. Oh, for Christ's sake. Oh, my God, I've lost you, mate. I've lost you. Where am I? Ronnie Dodge. I can't see what you said there, you see, because that bloody arrow's there. Can you write your last comment down again, please, Ronnie, because I missed it. Right. So I've had a few comments. This is what it's going to be like when I'm successful, right? I'm not going to be able to keep up with the comments, right? Marcus Walker, what is your all-time favourite CBM? Well, that's easy, Marcus, because it was the first one I saw as a 10, 12-year-old boy. It's called Superman the Movie, and without that film, I wouldn't be here now, even doing these videos, or I probably would have ended my life without that film. I had it tough. Not in terms of, the way I was brought up by my parents, but I was bullied. I had learning difficulties. Superman the Movie really helped me, and it inspired me to love Superman and superheroes. Scott Edwards, where do you rank Captain Marvel in the MCU? Sam Lejean reviews, it started with Justice League. Abraham Herrera, I watched Justice League Dark Apocalypse War yesterday. I loved it. It's awesome, yeah. Sam Lejean reviews, why do DC keep rebooting when things don't go right? Well, how many times have they rebooted the DCEU? They didn't reboot after Man of Steel, didn't make the money they wanted, didn't reboot after BVS, they didn't reboot after Suicide Squad, they didn't reboot after Wonder Woman, which went well, so they wouldn't have done. Justice League, they didn't reboot. They did Aquaman straight off, $1 billion movie. So I don't agree with that. Scott Edwards, why? I would put Stargirl Season 1 on the same level as Arrow and Flash Season 1 and 2. Interesting. Hot Takes Tuesdays. People wanting to continue the Snyderverse on HBO Max have no idea of how financing movies work. They live in a fantasy world. My hot take. Ronnie Dodge. Marvel probably knows that Brie Larson has caused problems with her SJW attitude. So that's probably why it's called The Marvels. It's interesting, isn't it? Or it could just be called The Marvels because it's about all of them, the whole Marvel family kind of thing. So, I don't know. I'm not sure. Kavari, I heard we're getting more Green Lantern casting for big budget HBO Max next week. Exciting. Ronnie Dodge, The Flash is a soft reboot, so they're only getting rid of things that didn't work in the first place. Cough, Snyderverse. Kavari, Hot Takes Tuesdays. You're right. Thank you, Kavari. I like to be right at least once a day. There's 11 of you in the chat, and I've only got 2 likes. Despicable. Kavari, Hot Takes Tuesdays, you're right. Bobcat, I think what they are doing now is the official DCEU. Yeah, look, they're doing this. It's happening. We can kick our legs up in the air forever. Now, I support and retweet a lot of Snyder positive stuff. If you follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mag, you know that. But I also have a balanced view about the whole situation. So it's pretty clear. I'm going to keep on fighting and hashtagging Restore the Snyderverse. It's pretty clear they have made their minds up for now. Ronnie Dodge, I was late. I had an excuse. So if I've missed your comment earlier, I just lost my place. So if I haven't read out something, just say it again, right? It's easier for me if you do that. These are the rules. If I don't read out your comment, just write it again. Scott Edwards, oh man, I'm excited for Superman and Lois coming back next week. I can't believe it. We'd had to suffer weeks and weeks of bloody Supergirl, right? And finally, one of the best TV superhero shows is back. It's going to take another break after its run as well, I think. But I'm glad it's back for the time being. Kavari, after Flash movie comes out, Snyder fans are going to lose their... Yes, Kavari, they are. But they're going to lose it sooner than that, because when James Gunn's The Suicide Squad comes out, they're really going to lose it. Really going to lose it. I assure you of that. Because look, you've got to look. Actually, Hot Takes Tuesday, I want to say what you said about your hot take about people don't know the financing. Listen, to finance something, you've got to make a profit out of it. I believe that they wanted to do something with Snyder, with his Snyderverse on HBO Max. That's why they created Warner Max. This is why the movie was chapterized as a TV show, right? And then that changed. Why did it change? Why did they suddenly fall out? It doesn't matter how biased as a Snyder fan you are. It takes two to tango. I think they were up for restoring the Snyderverse on HBO Max. So what went wrong? What happened? Well, it's pretty obvious to me that Zack pushed things a little bit too much, and as did Ray Fisher. Scott Edwards, will you watch and review Black Widow? Definitely yes. Ronnie Dodge, I was rewatching the Multiverse panel from last year's fandom. I'm excited. It's a win-win situation for me and end of the day, and people want to complain. Well, we can't stop them from complaining, so just keep on scrolling when you see it. Scott Edwards, I love Supergirl as a character, but her show could be so much better. The 1984 movie is so superior to that TV show, not in VFX, obviously, but in heart. Bobcat, I'm happy for League of Super Cats and Pat Wills. It's important to have DC for all ages. I think kids like DC too. Not accusing you, Mick, just the people on social media hating on it. Yeah, that's the thing. I want children to be introduced at a young age to DC, like I was with Superman the movie. It's great. Abraham Herrera, message retracted. Oh, I wonder what you said, Abraham. Marcus Walker, I think The Suicide Squad is going to be one of the highest grossing films of the year, especially with the August release and James having mainstream appeal. Yeah, it's going to be a foregone conclusion that critics are going to love it and audiences are going to love it. And this is going to say that Walter Hamada brought this guy out of the cold to do a DC movie after he'd been sacked by Disney and Marvel, and it's a success. This means people can't attack Walter Hamada as a bad DC president. Bobcat, exactly like me with Batman, the animated series. Exactly. You know, without Superman the movie, you know, such an important film to me. Scott Edwards, the crossovers really boosted Melissa Benoist's Supergirl. Yeah, because, listen, her show isn't very good. It's not very good. She's not very appealing as Supergirl. The show isn't very appealing. It's sad. Supergirl is an amazing character. She deserves better. And hopefully Andy and the actor, Sasha Calle, who's playing Supergirl, and Kara, do a better job, at least, with Supergirl and Kara. She deserves that. Read her comics. Some Snyder fans want all the new DC movies to fail. I say all of them. I'm not going to read that word, obviously, but F all of them. Should we say that? And I've got to hide your thing now. Language, Timothy. Do you want me to lose my channel? Don't get me banned from lives now. It's funny how we started with this with the Snyder Cut versus Avengers, and then we've gone into these conversations. Marcus Walker, we need a series like Batman, the animated series again, kid friendly but with great depth. Yeah, I hope they do something like that, and I think they probably will. I think they will look to implement child friendly stuff as well, because it's about that. If you don't have broad appeal, how can you make that? This is what some people just simply just care about what they want, but not the good of the actual IP, right? Ronnie Dodge, I'm excited for Sasha's for Supergirl. I want her. I want her how she is in the comics, a bit cold and not the lover of people. But I see by the end of the movie, Barry and her are close friends. That would be awesome. Scott Edwards, I hope Barry and Kara develop a friendship in the movies like the Arrowverse. So do I. But Bobcat, we do have the new Aquaman cartoon. Yeah, I haven't heard much about that, but hopefully that's coming on. So that will be awesome. There's never enough water, is there? 10 people watching, 5 likes. I'll have to deal with that. Abraham Herrera, moving on is a good thing, definitely. Marcus Walker, it's only 3 episodes, I think. I think if people watch it, they'll make more. Ronnie Dodge, Amber is training for Aquaman 2, which is exciting. Yeah, meanwhile, the Phantom Menace, not the Phantom Menace, the Fandom Menace are saying she's going to prison. These people continue to expose themselves, don't they? Bobcat, agreed, Abraham. You just don't get agreement. In this present tense, we will speak a different language. Sweet King in Britain. Scott Edwards, so do you think Supergirl will be a product of Flashpoint? That's a difficult one. It's looking likely, but unless she shows up at the beginning of the film and she's there and she's been hiding, that will be interesting. It looks like she could be, she's a Flashpoint. And this is why I believe that the President Superman will be the leader of the Multiverse Justice League, because there's going to be multiverse characters now. Marcus Walker, I really disagree with you on Amber, but I totally respect your opinion, and I will still support the film. Well, do you know what, Marcus? I've said it before and I've said it again. If we only supported films because nice people were in them, we wouldn't watch any films. Amber Heard, I don't know her. Johnny Depp, I'm not going to take sides. It's ridiculous to take sides, in my opinion, and I respect your opinion as well. But the thing is, why do I care about their marriage and who's right and who's wrong? These people were both taking lumps out of each other. They're both nuts, and I don't care. But I like her as Mira, and no, I don't want her to go to jail. I don't want that woman to go to jail. That would be mean of me. Why do I want her to go to jail? Doesn't make sense, does it? Kavari, what good could come from the new DC movie failing? Well, nothing. Only to people who are biased, who think they're going to get what they want. Igor, it would be cool if they mixed a Lex of both Flashpoint and the nail for the Flash film. Yeah. Elements. Igor, elements, yeah. Definitely. Ronnie Dodge, I definitely think Sasha's Supergirl will be a big part of the future. I mean, Andy and Walter auditioned 400 ladies, and I think The Flash will lead into Sasha's solo movie. I think she could get a lot of cameos as well, and I think, as you say, they auditioned 400 people. They unveiled her like a brand new flashy car, so she's very important to their future, which is fantastic. Sam Dejan reviews. Did you hear about Neymar being in Black Panther 2? Yes, and I'm really, really, really excited about it, because isn't Neymar like the Aquaman of Marvel? Also, Kavari, Amber suck as a person, but damn, she a good Mira. She's also very, very anyway. Ronnie Dodger, I was watching Sasha when she was in her soap. She's really good. She really is good. She's going to be really great. as you say, they auditioned 400 women, so they definitely would have got it right. They made sure that this was an important casting for them. Marcus Walker, do you think Aquaman 2 will keep its December date less than a month after The Flash? It's interesting. It's interesting. You see, the thing is, they're boasting 4 movies next year, which I want them to keep. But if they did move Aquaman to the following year, it wouldn't matter because they've already got 3 movies and about 2 or 3 HBO Max projects as well. So it wouldn't be the end of the world. But I think keep them coming. Keep them coming. Keep them in the same year. 4 movies a year, 2 or 3 projects on HBO Max will be awesome. Abraham Ronnie Dodge, I was watching it on YouTube. Awesome. Abraham Herrera, I saw this meme saying Snyder beat WB to the punch with his own Suicide Squad in Army of the Dead. I thought it was funny, but made me think he can still finish his arc using other characters not owned. Well, it's a good point, and he could do that, but it wouldn't be as effective. And, the only reason he's beat them to the punch is because his films released before them. Basically, they were making their films. James and Zach were making their films literally at the same time. So he didn't really beat anyone to the punch, and nobody's seen James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. I wonder what people will be saying after they've seen it. Abraham Herrera by DC. Sam DeJean reviews. Henry Cavill needs to be in the Supergirl. Marcus Walker, I think April 2023 would work well. It's too crowded at the end of 2022. Well, I don't mind the crowdedness personally, Marcus, because I think people will go. People love capes, big DC fans. So I think people would watch it. I'll be happy for 4 movies next year. But if they do move it, then I understand their reasons. But I'm not desperate for them to move it. Ronnie Dodge, I think with the timeline, I think they should swap Aquaman 2 and The Flash. But that's me for movies next year is mental. I want to see The Flash next year. I wouldn't want it to be delayed. It's a very important movie. I want to see it as important as soon as possible. So I don't want anything fucking moved, to be honest with you. But we'll see. They haven't said anything yet. But obviously, we're only in May, so they've got a bit of time to change their minds. So we'll see. Pardon me. Sam DeJean reviews. Henry Cavill can appear in The Suicide Squad, Black Adam, Shazam 2, and The Flash and Aquaman 2. Then a solo movie. That would be awesome. Sam DeJean reviews. Lobo should be a villain for Supergirl. That would be awesome. I'd be really down for that, Sam. I think we're going to give it 15 minutes, so get your comments in. Ronnie Dodge. Yeah, filming is going well for The Flash, and COVID is really improving here in the UK, so I can see them hitting. I can't see them hitting any problems. They're not. There's no problem in the UK now, as you know, with vaccines. The UK and America have pretty much stolen the world's supply of vaccines anyway. So there should be no problem. So, no. And the Batman had some stallings. It stalled a few times. And look how quickly they finished that movie. So it won't be an issue. Abraham Herrera, is there any news on Black Adam? They're filming right. Well, they're filming right now. It's all going well. No problems at all. There's not really any gossip. Apparently the suit will fit him. It's not padded. But nothing big at the moment. Scott Edwards. The Suicide Squad is going to be awesome. It is, Scott. Marcus Walker. I'm ridiculously excited for the film regardless, but it would be a shame if the whole league didn't appear together one last time. I think, apart from Ray Fisher, I think we will see them all. Ronnie Dodge, yeah, Black Adam is filming. Ronnie Dodge, we're greedy sods. Oh, yeah. Marcus Walker in The Flash. You must admit I'm doing well with these comments, though, aren't I? Ronnie Dodge and Shazam starts filming this week, I believe, or next. So, potentially we've already got 2 2023 movies in the Black Superman movie and Fury of the Gods. So we've already got 2 2023 movies moving ahead. So that's awesome. Scott Edwards. So do you think Cyborg is totally done with the DCEU? Not as a character, just the actor. The actor's finished. Definitely done. And he didn't want to work for the president of DC Films, so you can't be in the movies. Nobody sacked you, Ray. Sorry. Nobody sacked Ray Fisher altogether now. Ronnie Dodge, I think The Flash could open up with the Justice League dealing with a crime, and then Barry has a discussion with Bruce about saving his mother. I think that sounds pretty much how it's going to be, and if that's the case, that's going to be awesome to open up with the Justice League. Yes, please. And then they change it, and by the end of the film, the Justice League lines up very differently. How awesome would that be? Not for everyone, of course. Sam Dejan reviews. Henry can appear in Black Adam, Flash, and Shazam 2. If they're all filming now, he can. But will he? That's the question. Will he? I'm really glad I didn't wear that pink shirt that I put in the image for this video, because I am so hot. So hot. I switched my aircon off because I think it messes with the mic and the sound. That's why I do that. Not long to go, guys. Get your stuff in. Right, Ronnie Dodge. Look, Ray Fisher sacked himself, not Warner Brothers. He clearly don't want to work with Water. It's his loss. It is his loss at the end of the day. He pushed for the investigation, but he took it too far. Simple as that. People can stand with him as much as they want. But I'll stand with him in terms of the investigation and the good stuff he was saying. But I'm not going to stand with him with everything he does, like the bullying of Walter Hamada. Abraham Herrera, hey, Mick, what if instead of you reading comments, you have conversations with us via Zoom or something? Well, there's a problem with that. I don't know how to use these things. I wouldn't know where to start. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but I wouldn't know where to start. And the problem is, of course, the more the audience gets huger, what are you going to do? Talk to everyone in Zoom? That would be nuts, wouldn't it? Interesting idea, though. Ronnie Dodge, I like Ray Fisher, but not his ego. Yeah, the guy's got an ego, and there's no question about that. And he thinks people are intimidated and scared of him. You know, you're an actor with a blank CV, basically. You're a good little actor. You're a good actor. You did well in Justice League. But you ain't Denzel bloody Washington, mate. Abraham Herrera, me neither, lol. Yeah, I have no idea about Zoom. I have no idea how I would even have a guest on here. I don't even know the tech of it. I don't know what I'd do. I mean, the only way I would do it if I wanted a guest is to get them to call me on my WhatsApp. Put my phone on here so I could hear their voice and the audience could hear their voice. That's the only way I know. Marcus Walker, Zoom classes with Mick. Raise your hand if you have a question. Yeah, that'd be funny, wouldn't it? Me, sir? Can I have a question, please? Abraham Herrera, just as the ones who were with you from early on. Yeah, that would be great, but then what about the other people who are going to be coming in, hopefully? Probably wouldn't be great for business. Sam Dejan reviews. Mick, you can use StreamYard for live streaming. Then you can invite people. I don't know how to do it, though. I don't know how to do it. I don't even know how to implement the app while I'm live. I wouldn't know what to do. I'm just crap. I'm just not a techie at all. It was hard enough to work out when I got this laptop how to do everything and set up the channel 2 or 3 years ago. But thanks for letting me know about that, but I don't know what I'm doing. I need a little assistant in the corner. That's what I need. I still think it's funny how we started this stream and how it's just gone down a different tangent. Amazing, really, how conversations get going. So I think I'll finish off by saying that I can't say that Avengers is better than the Snyder Cut, and it's difficult, isn't it? Because I think the Snyder Cut visually is clearly a better film. But is the story more cohesive? Is it as cohesive and as tight as Avengers? I would say not. Sam Dejan reviews, you don't download it, it's on the internet. Yeah, I still wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't know where to go. I wouldn't know how to use it while I was using YouTube. That's what I'm saying to you. It's very, very difficult when you don't know how to do these things, Sam. I think we'll stick with WhatsApp. I think we'll stick with someone calling me on WhatsApp, me putting my phone on there. I'm not sure if it would work, though. Marcus Walker, I love the first Avengers film, but my God, is it ugly? Everything looks so flat and grey. I mean, I suppose I just don't notice colour palettes that much as a fan. I like what I see. I love the music. I like, you know, but people are very obsessed these days with colour palettes. But things like, I mean, if you didn't mention that, I wouldn't have even noticed it, to be honest with you. But people are obsessed with these things now. Sam Dejan reviews. I have StreamYard. I can just send you the link and you will be on the live stream. I see. Oh, yeah, I did that. I did go on a live stream once with someone. Yeah, I remember now, yeah. I get it. I forgot his name. I did a live with someone about a year ago. But the problem is with doing streams with people from America, the time difference is too much. Sam Dejan reviews. The Avengers has not aged well. I don't know if I agree about that. I think it still looks like a good film. I think you can still enjoy it. But I mean, the thing is, classic films are still classic. You know, Indiana Jones is still classic. You can tell it was made many, many years ago. Superman the movie and New Hope made many years ago. You can tell they were made many years ago. Maybe they've aged well, maybe they haven't. But they're still great movies. That's the thing about it. Do you still enjoy them? Ronnie Dodge, I like both Avengers and Justice League. Yeah, I think they're different films. I think definitely. But the villain arcs are interesting because Thanos and Darkseid are literally doing the same thing in the background. So that's interesting. Sam Dejan reviews. I live in the UK. That's very good. I live in Cyprus. Four minutes, everyone. 4 minutes, and I'm signing off for the evening. But it's been a really great stream, and I've enjoyed it. Kavari, some Snyder fans were calling Aquaman a Marvel movie. They have no idea. Have they actually seen a Marvel movie before? That film is no way a Marvel movie. Anyway, I enjoyed it. It's a great film. If people want to shit on it, they can shit on it. But it's made more money than their favourite movies. Simple as that. I mean, some critics called Aquaman a mess. And I don't see how you can do that. So even non-Snyder films have been bitten on, but it's the most successful DCEU movie. Ronnie Dodge, maybe Snyderverse fans find humour offensive, sorry, but they do. I mean, some of them didn't like the Snyder Cut. That's interesting, I didn't realise that. Kavari, because it was bright and colourful. Do you know what? Do you know who I haven't heard from recently on Twitter? Well, I haven't seen on Twitter, Fiona. What's happened to her? She's just vanished, didn't she? But she does seem to vanish and come back, doesn't she? Yeah, it was bright and colourful, but there's nothing wrong with being bright and colourful. There's nothing wrong with being dark and dingy. You know? It's all there. It's all good. I think Ronnie Dodge, I'm going to watch Aquaman tonight, I think. Awesome movie. Awesome movie. Brilliant movie. Has a really good emotional core with Arthur's parents. Marcus Walker, in addition to the usual suspects labelling me a corporate shill for being excited for the Suicide Squad, I mean the Studio Squad, well, it's up to them, innit? Because at the end of the day, that film is not a Studio Squad film. That's James Gunn's film. Sam Dejan reviews. There is an HBO event on May the 19th. Is there now? Well, we've had... What kind of event? Ronnie Dodge, yeah, she's the one who didn't like the Snyder Cut. Oh, right. Is that why she's vanished? What did she say then? Before I go. That was very odd for her not to like the Snyder Cut, if it's even true. But I never saw her say that. 1 minute. Sam Dejan reviews. I think they're showing shows that might be announcements for HBO Max series. Oh, right. Okay. So that will be interesting. Well, it's been a great stream. Parting is sweet sorrow, but I need to calm my voice because I've been talking for nearly 1 hour and 10 minutes, and I'm a talker. I can't. Ronnie Dodge, with the reunion between Arthur and his mother, I want a scene between Barry and Nora like that. That would be awesome. That would be awesome, and I think we're going to get it. I can't wait. I really can't wait. And also, this new guy playing the father, that's going to be interesting as well. So, really looking forward to that movie. Thanks, everyone, for joining me on the stream. Have a good day. Have a good evening. Whatever you're doing, don't get caught. I'll see you again soon. I'll see you tomorrow morning for the Big Mouth Daily Live. See you again. Let's keep on talking DC. It's the best, isn't it? Absolutely the best. And I can't wait for everything that's coming. So I will see you again soon. Ronnie Dodge, yeah, I think she said it wasn't up to her expectations or something along them lines. You know what? That's interesting, isn't it? That was very brave of her to say that. I mean, it did hit my expectations. It was the film I expected it to be. I didn't expect it to be anything else. She obviously built it up in her mind, but what did she think it was going to be? Did she think it was going to be, flown over the cuckoo's nest or something? But credit to Fiona for being honest about her views. But everyone, as usual in that fandom, eats everyone alive for just having a basic opinion. So Fiona's been driven off basically because she had an opinion. That's sad. Marcus Walker, she deleted her tweet. She said she was disappointed with the film and shaded Zach. Well, that's up to her. If she wasn't happy with the film, I respect her for being honest. Ronnie Dodge, Mick Mick. Okay. Do you mean Night Mick? I don't know. So basically, if I said that and people come after me, I wouldn't have deleted my tweet and I wouldn't have deleted my Twitter. I would have kept on fighting back and I would have done YouTube videos basically showing my middle finger. Because if she didn't like it, that's up to her. It doesn't make her a supervillain or a criminal or wrong. She's allowed not. I mean, she's the one who started this fight. It's kind of hilarious, the stuff she said about Warner Brothers, of course, and all of that. Then she didn't like the movie. But maybe she was under a different impression what the movie was. But it's interesting. Before I go, I do want to say this. I do feel that Zach, Abraham Herrera, don't be afraid to learn new things, Mick. I never am. And thanks for the advice. But I think that Zach did give us, without saying it blatantly, give us a false impression that the Snyder Cut was finished. And it never was. So that's interesting, isn't it? And that's one thing I think, because 1 minute, is it there? Does it exist? Of course it does. Ronnie Dodge, that's her opinion. I respect that, absolutely. So I do feel he gave us a false opinion on what state the film was in. And that helped really push the momentum for the fans, getting the cut released. Ronnie Dodge, I mean Night Mick. Yeah, right, night everyone. I've been going into another conversation, but we're continuing tomorrow morning on the Big Mouth Daily Live. Be here, be square. Bring more people to the channel, to the chats, because I think they're really going well. Until tomorrow, I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.